Namaste and a warm welcome to Soft Talk. In this episode, I'll be talking about the Limpiadhura dispute between Nepal and India, as well as a deepening crisis resulting from coronavirus disease. Let me start with the Limpiadhura dispute. The Limpiadhura dispute is infecting every sphere of life in Nepal and India, it appears. When it comes to Nepal-India relations, it is developing as a more virulent strain than COVID-19, especially after India constructed and inaugurated a road joining Tibet of China through this landmass. While Nepal has been consistent in her stance that the land belongs to her, India considers the land to be a disputed territory. The move of building and formally inaugurating a road through what it calls to be a disputed territory speaks volumes about the ruling Indian dispensation's expansionist designs. In Limpiadhura, former generals and sobbing generals have found a rallying cause, and so have politicians, scholars, actors, and journalists, among others. It's good to see that all these people are fighting on fronts other than war fronts, be it the media, social media, the streets, or the parliament. It's great to air our views to audiences across the border and listen to what they have to say. But democracy suffers, bilateral relations suffer, and the cause of justice suffers when one side does not bother to listen to the other, especially when the prevailing one refuses to listen to the other party and remains adamant on what she has been parroting all along. In a time of heightened tensions, attempts to ratchet up tensions further by making demeaning remarks against each other, their icons, their heroes, and hitting at each other's sensibilities will neither solve Nepal nor India. So let's engage in passionate debates on this thorny issue by maintaining decency and sanity. Let's keep in mind that falsehood speaks in the loudest of voices, whereas truth is calm, composed, consistent, and not shouting on top of her lungs. Above all, let's first try to ensure justice through sustained bilateral or trilateral engagements. If that does not happen, how about internationalizing this issue? But first, let's tone down the tirades, as we will need every ounce of our energy and political commitment for the resolution of this and several other border disputes persisting between the two countries for ages. Alarm bells for Nepal. Amid a humanitarian crisis resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic, the lockdown, and a prolonged disruption of livelihoods, the government of India has recently launched special trains. These special trains are meant to bring in migrant workers to their hometowns. On May 11, India's Ministry of Railways launched 30 special AC trains to and from New Delhi. Indian Railways, the national transporter, has already ferried more than 21.5 lakh migrant workers. That's a huge number to their home states through Shramik special trains since the beginning of May. The ministry is introducing 200 non-air conditioned trains from June 1. This is in addition to the Shramik special trains and 30 special trains flagged off earlier this month. This is a welcome relief for a huge number of immigrant workers who were stranded due to the suspension of all passenger train services across India after the imposition of a nationwide lockdown. Indian Railways also plans to double the number of Shramik trains. This is to bring more relief to migrants stuck at various cities and their workplaces. In the wake of this huge rush, states such as Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, which are major destination states for migrants, are grappling with logistics issues in handling the rush. Bihar has flagged capacity constraints to the center, while Uttar Pradesh has sought local trains for movement within the state. Uttar Pradesh, which has received and is expected to receive the most number of Shramik special trains, has written to the railways requesting mainline electric multiple units trains on 9 main routes in the state. This is to replace buses to ferry migrant workers to various districts. Most of the Shramik specials in Bihar are bringing passengers to central points like Danapur near Patna, from where 30 buses take passengers of each trains to their districts. Bihar is handling around 50 trains per day, which means around 1 lakh passengers a day. The state so far has received 367 Shramik specials, and consent has already been given for 575 additional trains from Gujarat, Maharashtra, Punjab, Delhi and Uttar Pradesh. Apart from these reports, what should ring alarm bells for Nepal are the results of tests conducted on migrant workers returning to Bihar from New Delhi. Of the 835 samples taken from migrant workers who returned from Delhi, as many as 218 were COVID positive. This works out to be a positivity rate of over 26%, while the rate in the national capital, New Delhi, is about 7%. A huge human rush close to the border must be a matter of serious concern for Nepal, especially in times of a pandemic and a deepening economic humanitarian crisis. Taking advantage of an informal border with thin security presence, many of these workers may seek to sneak into Nepal in search of livelihoods and a safer place to live in. In this scenario, the government of Nepal should ensure tighter border controls for preventing illegal entries instead of focusing only on subjecting her peoples to a draconian lockdown in the name of controlling the pandemic. With this, I wrap up this edition of Soft Talk. Please comment on my presentation, like, subscribe, give feedback. Your continued coordination and cooperation will be vital in giving continuity to this program, in making this program more interactive and intellectual. Thank you for your cooperation. Thank you for listening. Stay safe, stay strong, stay updated.